I had totally forgot to make this video a long time ago, so I'm gonna make it now, but I'm also gonna add in another part from something that a lady just told me like a couple minutes ago, like 20 minutes ago. So, first thing is, there were some people in my class and they were talking about how, well, kind of about the mental health system in general, but it started off with this dude who's he's in his late 30s. He's like 38 or something. He was talking about how he had got brain damage from psychotropics like the ADHD drugs and how it messed him up and he can barely think and all that. And then this other dude had came in. I would say he's like in his 70s or 60s or something. He started talking about how the mental health system keeps making up all these new labels. And so he had mentioned how his friend had told him that his teenage daughter has ODD and how she won't listen and all that. And then the guy said, "What do you mean she has ODD? Your daughter's just being a teenager." But that's how this goes, though. These people make up new labels every day. Well, that's honestly not that new. I remember that was like one of the first labels that I got. But still, these people make up new labels every day to make paychecks off of trauma and bad parenting, which is, I mean, that goes hand in hand, obviously. So, bad parenting. And I don't really know if I have anything else to say about that. Then the second thing from what a lady told me earlier is kind of what I always say when it comes to CPS. And especially with the whole homeless runaway thing and how people like try to scare people into not leaving an abuse situation and talk about how they're going to be homeless and all that and try to tell them to talk to CPS instead or the police. And what I always have to mention with that is, for one, anybody who's deciding to run away, 9 out of 10 CPS has already been involved multiple times throughout their lives, and their situation has been reported by multiple people. Also, CPS is a government trafficking organization anyway, and it's a part of the Cash for Kids system. And the thing with the police is that if you call the police in an abuse situation, they'll just tell you to call CPS and to stop calling them. That's how the police roll. Then sometimes people are kicked out or abandoned, and either way, you're not seeing any different whether you were kicked out or you left or you were just abandoned somewhere. With all three of those, you're seen as a fugitive/criminal as long as you're not being trafficked, labeled, and drugged through the Cash for Kids system. But anyway, to get to the point, there's really there is a difference, but it's like, trying to figure out how to say this. It's better for you to just leave an abuse situation on your own as long as you actually know what you're doing and have the gear and the money to do it, and you know, like, a good place to go. That's not with some random person. It's better to leave yourself than to, for one, beg CPS and even doing something, which you really can't do that. But, like, let's say they do take you, then you're going to be homeless either once you turn 18 or even before that. Because, like I have in other videos and in the description of other videos, in states like New York, and really anywhere, but especially in New York, CPS is known for having 13-year-olds living under bridges with other foster kids. And yeah, so it's like people try to fearmonger people who are in bad situations and convince them to not leave and to just try to go with CPS as if you can just call CPS and they even do something about the situation. But, like, why go into a system where you can end up in full-blown global SRE sex trafficking, or at least you're still going to end up being abused and neglected, but the system's going to be making money off of you and trafficking you with taxpayer dollars, and you're still going to be homeless anyway, and probably end up in all types of drugs and out of your mind. So, what this lady had told me some minutes ago is that she was staying at the shelter, the one that I was dragged into staying at because of, well, after my tent flooded. Which, like I always say, or at least I think I said this, if my tent wouldn't have flooded, I still wouldn't have came. It's honestly definitely nowhere near, like, the usual shelter. But I just don't like being in systems where I'm being, like, a cash cow to people. Because that's kind of like what my whole life has been already. And so I didn't want to be a part of the homeless industrial system and then be sitting somewhere where they pretend that they're helping people, like, get housing or whatever, but really you're just sitting in a tin box with no air conditioning. But yeah, so the lady told me that she stayed at this shelter once for 7 months, and then the shelter wasn't helping her the usual, but also they had got her kids taken by CPS, and they had threatened some other people I know with this, and I'm like, as good as they are as parents, and you're trying to get CPS to come take their kids so their kids can be thrown in some white supremacist taming abusive home where they're being trafficked and probably scrubbing somebody's basement with toothbrushes like this other girl and her siblings were forced to do, which I didn't mention them. No. Did I mention them on this channel? I can't even remember. I know I mentioned them on the evidence channel. I'm pretty sure I mentioned them on here in one of my videos where I mentioned CPS, but yeah, so there's this lady I met. She's on all types of drugs because of all the trauma that she endured in CPS. And I also wonder why in the world CPS took her from New York all the way to Cali, but that's the side story. But yeah, so she was thrown into CPS. Her 2 foster siblings are from Haiti. Their parents are rich and they went and got them from Haiti. And she had told me about this one time they got in trouble for sneaking and eating some uncooked pasta, which anytime somebody has to sneak to eat, that's something's going on automatically. I had to edit out a whole bunch of stuff because things went really left. What I was saying was that they got in trouble for sneaking to eat the pasta, and so they had to scrub the basement with toothbrushes and other parts of the house. So the shelter has threatened to give people's kids to CPS before, which is honestly insane because, like I said in this other video, which was about this lady who told me that she had told the police about the fact that I was living here, and she told them that I was young and all that bull crap. And that's that mess I talk about. And this is somebody that also was trafficked through CPS and ended up really messed up from that. And it's like, how do people have this much cognitive dissonance to where they see that I'm decent, but they want to throw me to the same system that has them kind of all over the place? So, oh yeah, and by the way, I'm not trying to be rude, but I'm just saying, if you see that you were in foster care and you've been sex trafficked, and ended up falling into prostitution and you're on all types of different drugs, and you see that that's what CPS did for you, why would you want to throw me into that when I'm doing decent? But yeah, so back to the point. The lady told me that her kids were taken into CPS because of her being homeless. Well, living at the shelter anyway. So she wasn't even like, it's not like they were even on the sidewalk, but I still feel like that's not a reason to throw somebody's kids into a situation where they're really going to be real messed up, especially when they're not specifically being abused. That's the craziest thing about it. Oh yeah, because I forgot to mention, in the video where I was talking about the whole thing with this lady telling me that she had told the police I was living at the shelter, she'd also mentioned this kid at the family shelter who like had bruises all over his face and stuff, and the staff said that they already knew about the whole situation with them. And it's like, you guys won't do anything or report that, but you'll try to get somebody's kids thrown into CPS because they're trying to find a place. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, now back to the point. Now I can actually start talking about the point. Her 15-year-old daughter was thrown in this home with two ladies who were dating or married or whatever, quote unquote. And so she was thrown into this home, and they had fought in court to take away all the real mom's parental rights and stuff. And after they had took away her parental rights and got custody of her daughter, they kicked her daughter out, her 15-year-old daughter. They kicked her out a week after taking away all the mom's parental rights. And so that's all I had to say with this. It's just the stuff that I talk about every day pretty much.